Another delegate from Kenya is here to participate in the international conference CIGOFA4 in Arusha, Tanzania, and we are grateful to have you. What's your name and where you come from in Kenya?
My name is Faith Alube. I'm the CEO of the Kenyan Land Alliance, and I'm a human rights lawyer that works on land justice.
Okay, tell us about the Kenya Land Alliance, what it's all about, and also you can talk a little bit about the CIGOFA4.
Kenya Land Alliance is an organization that brings together community-based organizations and local-based organizations that advance land justice. We also work together with the academia, both state and non-state actors. We are glad to be participating at the CIGOFA4 because CIGOFA is looking at how can we accelerate the rights of youth around natural resources, around land, around just to have a say on matters land and land governance. So we are glad we are in this space this time around.
You led the second panel discussion in the day 2 of CIGOFA. How did you find?
I'd say today I've moderated 2 sessions, and yesterday I had a panel as a speaker. I have like 3 or 4 points that I'm taking home with me from these sessions. The first one is that there is need to ensure that youth, both male and female, are engaged meaningfully. The idea of engineered engagements should stop, whereby a constituency of people are engaged or is engaged with already a determined end game or a determined result already determined by the powers that be, elite capture. That has to stop. Otherwise, since we have a youth bulge, it's only a matter of time before that constituency rises up and demands for their rights. The second point that I'm going with is the need for intergenerational conversations. All generations have to speak. Because like today in a panel that I was moderating in, there's an old man who was speaking about land that has been in his family for 500 years. And we were concerned that if his family has owned that land for 500 years, he also has to ensure that people who come after him also get the same land. So that need of intergenerational passing of stewardship of resources has to be, that conversation has to be heard or to be done or to be undertaken, and also in actions and in word. The third point is the need for very responsive policy dialogues. This constituency are tired of conversations being imposed on them, that boardroom decisions are being communicated to them. They want to be part of the decision. So policy conversations have to include the youth, both male and female. A case in point is where a youth was speaking about the need for disclosure. As much as they need the need for disclosure, there's also privity of contracts when you're talking about multinationals working in Africa. So our governments and both state and non-state actors should ensure that that concern is raised and addressed in very different, in all contexts. Let me say in all contexts, because that is a very pertinent question. As much as we're talking about disclosure, we also have privity of contracts. And the fourth one is the need for us to appreciate that even the youth have duties and they have responsibilities. As much as we are claiming for entitlement, we also have to know we have roles that we have to play as the youth before we can accelerate our right to land.
The government in Kenya, you can tell us the issues of law and also the policies. How is it and what has been the role of the government to push this agenda or to take action on land question, especially for the youth?
In Kenya, we have very beautiful pieces of legislation. Enforcement is still a problem. We have a very big gap between policy and practice. As we speak, the youth might not really have a grasp of how to narrow that gap. Both state and non-state actors should know that we have a role in ensuring that we narrow that gap. Otherwise, we will always be complaining about the same issues. We have to know that non-state actors have a watchdog role and they should not abdicate it. And we also have to know that the government, as the custodian of the law, they have a mandate to ensure that the law is enforced as envisaged. Otherwise, the rule of law will collapse. So the youth have very good entitlements in the law, but we need to find a way of ensuring that the law is enforced.
The group who experience more than other is the women. What are the role of the young women on this progress?
It is true when it comes to accessing natural resources and land, young women are more discriminated and defranchised, especially in communities where young women are not considered to have a vote or a say on matters land justice. It is important for us to appreciate that the communities, that the young women are part of the communities. They cannot be set aside because of the generational exclusion of women from land governance. It's still being perpetuated up to date. So we have to involve young women in land governance processes. We have to make them understand. And that's why in Kenya, when we look at our Community Land Act of 2016, it's very progressive because Section 15 of that act provides that every female above the age of 18 should be given a right to a say, a right to vote. So that means that even the young women in spaces where they live, in areas where there is community land ownership, as long as they're above 18, they are land owners because they have a say. We wish to encourage communities in Africa because only 10% of our lands in Africa are documented. The rest is communally owned, that they should encourage young women to be part of the land governance processes.
Much appreciated for your time.
Thank you very much.